So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Radio Works World, wherever you are in the world. This is Gill Barham. I am the Miracle Molecule host. And today, this is actually my third light-hearted conversation in a row. And I am speaking to the most amazing person that I met only very recently. And her name is Lisa Spencer-Arnell. It's probably afternoon now, isn't it?
Yes, if I just say hello, that might be easier, Jill. Good to see you.
Well, great, because our listeners are all around the world, so we don't know what time of day they're listening to us, which is why we do that. So, Lisa, I was very privileged to be at one of the talks that you gave. I know what you do and what your real passion is. But before we get into our light-hearted conversation, I'd like you to share with the rest of the world what it is that you do, what you love to do, what's your real passion and purpose.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Jill. Yes, well, I'm Lisa Spencer-Arnell, as you say, and I am the treasure seeker. And I have a real mission in my life. My background was in the corporate world. I was in sales, marketing and leadership for many, many years. But I jumped ship probably about 14, 15 years ago. I have a mission that is fivefold. First of all, I tend to work with leaders and teams and organizations around the world. And I always say to them, if I could do anything, the thing I change around here is changing the energy from fear to love. And they often look at me very strange. And I say, okay, so if you loved coming to work every day, if your teams love doing business with you, and your teams love working for you, and your clients love doing business with you, what would that be like? And they're like, yeah, it'd be a lot easier. Exactly. And yet often in organizations and with teams, people don't have the real conversations. They sugarcoat things. I'll ask them, when was the last time you went into a meeting where every person was honest about how they felt? So that's the first thing, changing the energy from fear to love. I say, if I could give everybody a gift, it would be to know their values. If I could right one wrong in the world, it would be for everybody to know that they are enough. As people doubt themselves and people have concerns and worries, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not, I don't know, old enough, young enough, tall enough, short enough. I have a teenage daughter and I hear some of the friends talking and it's very, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not attractive enough, which really concerns me. But the underlying theme is not being enough in some way. So I would write that as a wrong. If I could give everybody a skill, it would be to understand, to manage and express their own emotions, because our emotions are an incredible gift. And the final thing I do is just reconnect people to their whole selves. In corporate world, in many organizations, people are just operating from a tiny part of who they are, which is their prefrontal cortex, their left lobe, which is their logic, their intellect. But there is so much more to you. I always say there is more to you than you think, because we have different parts of the head brain, the emotions, the unconscious brain. We're very, very powerful. And we also have, scientists have now proven we've got a brain in our heart. There are memory neurons there. We have decision-making capacity in the heart and also the gut brain. And if you think about it, it makes sense because we talk about gut instinct quite a lot. So the heart, head and gut. So just getting people connected to their whole self so they can experience and achieve more, whatever it is they want to do. So that's kind of my key messages that I give out with my clients. Then I also have a side passion for the next generation, our leaders of tomorrow, and I'm in the process of setting up a charity in memory of my dad, the Pete Spencer Youth Foundation, which is all about helping young people with their emotions, with their confidence, with their belief, and really equipping them to find the courage to be themselves.
Brilliant. Excellent. So that's absolutely wonderful. And I know some of the stuff that you do, particularly in the corporate world, is seen to be a bit, and a bit woo-woo. And I love the fact that you're taking all of this stuff in and really, mixing it up and making people in the corporate world really think about not only the job that they do, but the way they do it and the relationships that they have and the love and connection that they have with their workmates and with themselves. I think it's absolutely fantastic. But we're not going to talk about work anymore now. Well, I'm going to let you talk about it at the end of the show. But this show is actually all about Lisa.
Right.
So
Okay.
this is all about Lisa, the person behind those two massive projects.
Yes.
On the basis that, you know, we need to know a little bit more about you and we're much more likely to work with you and give to your you just give us a little bit of an inkling as to what makes you tick. I've got some questions.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah. So what makes you tick? Absolutely. So I've got some questions, and just to tell everybody that Lisa has no idea what I'm going to ask you, do you?
No idea at all. I'm curious.
So these questions are designed to kind of bring out some of your life journey and some of the passions that you have and some of your values and so on. And everybody gets asked the same questions, just to tell you.
Okay.
So here we go. Now, the first scenario is that you are somewhere and you are staying in a hotel, or at least you're going to lunch in a very nice hotel. And you're going up in the lift. You get into the first floor, onto the ground floor. One other person gets in the lift with you. And as you get up to between the 6th and 7th floor, the lift breaks down. Now, there's two good bits of news here. One is that you've got windows, so you're not going to get claustrophobic.
Great.
And the other bit of good news is that you've got this one other person in the lift with you who you can choose to be anybody that you like in the world. So you're going to be there for 2 or 3 hours.
Wow.
Who would you choose to spend 2 or 3 hours with that you could ask any questions, anything that you've ever wanted to know? Who would that be?
Wow, now that's a massive thing. Just one. Can I have 2 or 3?
No.
So I'm gonna share with you, and I'm gonna discuss it out loud. What's going on in my head, really, because there's the immediate person that popped up. Interestingly, was the Dalai Lama, and then it was also Oprah at the same time. Mm-hmm. And then also a footballing legend who I really, really admire, called Stuart Pearce. I'm passionate about football. He doesn't play now, but a former player. So which one of those would I want to speak to? Jill, that is a really difficult question.
I know.
I'm going to say Oprah.
Okay. Because
I love her energy. Energy is really important to me, and I think she'd be real good fun. And also she's experienced so many things, met so many people. I think we could have a really great conversation about life, about each other. I'd love to find out, more about her personally. She's very open. Yeah. So I think it would be fun. I think it would just be free flowing. Insightful. Yeah.
You're about the third music, said Oprah, so it's going to be a bit of a party in there.
Yeah, it's no joke.
Okay. Yeah. So at the same time, whilst you're in the lift with Oprah, I'm also going to provide you with some lunch, because obviously you were both on your way to lunch, so we can't have her being hungry. So I'm going to table, a lovely, beautiful table with everything that you need on it, all the nice crockery and cutlery and everything. And I'm also going to magic you up like Harry Potter, because I know you've got a small child as well, who obviously is into Harry Potter, because what child isn't? And I am going to magic you up the food and the drink that you would like to share with Oprah Winfrey. So what do you like to eat and drink?
Wow. I love to eat. In the last year, what I eat and drink has changed quite a lot. So I really cleaned up my health and my diet probably about a year ago. So this might sound very boring to a lot of people, but actually I really love a beautiful fresh salad. And I mean really, really fresh, and spinach and avocado and cucumber and red peppers and all kinds of things with a real fresh salad dressing on there, something that was really healthy. And drink, I like a green juice. I might also have a glass of Prosecco. Which would be slightly different, wouldn't it? But just really, for lunch, really fresh food. If I was going to put something else on there, I might put a steak on there with it.
Yeah, cool. Okay, thank you very much. All right, so you've had a lovely time with Oprah in this lift, just to tell you. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the 18-year-old Lisa. So I'd like you to take us back to 8. You were doing, where were you living? What were you doing? you at that time? How did you feel?
So I was living at home when I was first 18, because I was doing my A-levels. And then I had a massive decision to make about what I did next. My parents were really encouraging me to go to university at that point, as I've had enough of studying. I'd also met the guy who's ended up being married to. I met him when I was 17, actually.
Oh,
Gary.
wow.
Yeah. So we met early on, so I didn't want to go a long way from home. It was a lot of choices and decisions when I was 18, actually. And I was really at that point where nobody was going to pressure me into anything. So I've always been kind of quite strong-willed, I guess. You know, I used to be very, very quiet and shy, really painfully shy, actually. So yeah, at that point, I think I got a lot of different decisions to make, and I went for almost a halfway house decision. So I stayed in the Midlands. I'm from Nottingham, so I stayed in the Midlands. I went to Loughborough, and I did a HND. That's called a Higher National Diploma in Business Studies and Languages, and it was a 2-year program, so I didn't go for the full university program at that time. I went later on in life. I did an MBA when I was working, but at that point, I was not going to be pushed into anything.
And what were you listening to at that time?
Oh, I was a real 80s girl. Actually. And in fact, I was 50 in January, and I had a party, which was also when I launched the idea of the charity to my friends and family. And yeah, so I had an 80s disco there. So what did I love? Things like Tainted Love by Soft Cell, Tears for Fears, Everyone Wants to Rule the World. Yeah, I Will Survive, Gloria Gaynor. That's always been something that I really, really loved. So yeah, lots of different music.
Perfect. And so I'm going to take you now to 35.
Okay.
And would you share with us what was happening for you at 35?
So at 35, so I was in the process of being self-employed. I took the leap from corporate world. Yeah, I just got married. I got married when I was 34. Again, freedom is really important to me. I'm such a free spirit. And we used to go to all these different weddings, and it used to be a standing joke. When will they make it down the aisle? But I was, I don't want to get married. Just too much of a free spirit. I ended up getting married when I was 34. So I was
this poor guy had waited 17 years.
Well, we kind of had a little gap in the middle. After 11 and a half years we were together, had a couple of years gap, and I went and travelled abroad and worked overseas, and then came back and we got back together. These fabulous, bless them, my soulmate. And so yeah, we'd actually got married. So I was actually starting to be a grown-up, or it felt like it. I got a mortgage for the first time in my life, and yeah, I'd got married the previous year. And I'm trying to think, when I was 35, I actually got pregnant with my first child. So I had Grace when I was 36. Had Jack when I was 43. So I had children. I had the family a lot later in life than some other people. But I'd also I set up my business, and then a short while later found out I was pregnant with Grace. And it was like, okay, this is an interesting time, but it's actually been perfect, you know, working for myself as well as bringing up a family. So yeah, quite an exciting time.
I was just talking to Sammy. If you get a chance, go and see my interview with Sammy Blindell, who I interviewed just before you. And we were talking around this subject and about combining working for yourself as an entrepreneur or as a business owner and having your family. And, you know, as a woman, it's sometimes really difficult because we want it all, but you know, not going through that burnout and realizing really at the end of the day what's really important. And what's really important actually is family. At the end of the day, nothing else really matters. So if you do get a chance, go and check that one out.
I will do.
Yeah, I do. So brilliant. Okay, so I've got some quick fire questions for you now.
Okay.
You ready? So here we go. So are you a TV or a radio girl?
If either TV, but I'm also might say neither too much. So I have a radio playing in here. I talk about my FM quite a lot. So I actually quite like the quiet. So I think things through, and you know, Yeah, so probably TV, if anything.
Yeah. Okay. And fiction or non-fiction?
Non-fiction.
And were you the oldest, middle, or youngest child?
The only one.
Oh, you're the only one.
My mum and dad wanted a huge family, but unfortunately after me they couldn't have any more. I used to say, is it because
you're my second?
Yeah. But no, the only one, unfortunately.
You're my second only child, I think, so far. Yeah,
very good.
And I think I probably know the answer to this. So at school, were you the goody two-shoes, the class clown, under the radar, or a bit of a handful?
Under the radar.
Yeah, because you said you were very shy.
Really shy and quiet. Yeah. It was only when I got to secondary school, and the first year at secondary school, I experienced, like a lot of people, a bit of bullying. And I literally had to learn to stand up for myself. And I did.
Yeah. Okay. And these days, because I know you have changed your life, what would you say your best habit is?
My best habit? Connecting with nature and meditating. So I love being outside. I love connecting. I love walking. Bit of a tree hugger. I do like trees. I find them fascinating, their roots and their groundedness and their strength. So no, I love being out in nature. I think that's when I've had a spell outside, I am then at my best. Yeah, perfect. I have a dog, so it's kind of something that I have to do. So
ideal. But it is amazing, isn't it? Okay, and what's your worst habit?
Oh, my worst habit. You should probably speak to my husband about that.
Well, sometimes I do actually say, if they're having a problem with it, I say, well, what would your partner say was your worst habit?
Untidiness sometimes. People matter to me, not things.
Yeah.
My friends at college used to call me the hand grenade. I would arrive and within 5 minutes, there'd be stuff everywhere. My bag was just open because I was always conscious and always passionate about the people, not about stuff.
Yeah, I'm a little bit like that. I kind of, when I cook, I make a complete mess because I cook and everything's really hot, but I've made a mess, and everything's messy. But I make neat heaps, so I just pile things up into neat heaps, and then my husband says, "Do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this?" I said, "I'm sorting it. Leave it alone. I'm going to sort it later."
Exactly.
Okay, so we know that you meditate. What else do you do to relax?
To relax, I play with my kids, particularly my youngest. Grace is 14, so she's at the teenager stage, and sometimes she interacts, sometimes she wants her own space and just to be. Jack is 7 in September, and he's a real bundle of fun and energy. So things like pillow fights or jumping on the trampoline together are really good fun. I love walking. I love watching sports. So I go and watch football. I'm a Nottingham Forest fan. I like watching cricket. I was down at Lords recently because Notts were in the cup final against Surrey, and we won. It was a fantastic day out. So and being with friends. Only a little bit. I watched the Muller-Nadal game the other night, the end of it, which was fantastic. My daughter actually was there yesterday. She went with the school trip. I was really envious. She saw the men's quarterfinal.
Every year when Wimbledon comes up, I think, I never did anything about trying to get Wimbledon tickets. Again, I'd love to go to Wimbledon. It's one of my big bucket list things.
Is that?
And I just kind of, so if anybody would like to take me to Wimbledon, I'd love to go. Okay, so Lisa, do you or have you ever had any nicknames?
Yeah, a bit sad actually. At school, the youngest guy was called Podge because I was a little bit bigger. Kids can be cruel. And then at secondary school, it was always Spanner because my name's Spencer and somebody changed it. At school, it was just a Spanner. Most of my friends just call me Lise. Those really, I guess.
Yeah, okay. And you probably don't know this, but one of my the first thing I did was a music degree, and so I'm a singer. So if I was to be on stage and I would drag you up with me, what would be your karaoke song?
My karaoke song would be I Will Survive, I think, Gloria Gaynor, which I'm sure a lot of people have said. I also love, one of my favourite songs is the M People, Search for the Hero Inside Yourself. I absolutely adore that.
Yeah, so I haven't had either of those. So which one would you like? Which one would you choose?
Are we at a party or are we just at a nice event? What kind of event are we at? If it was a real party, it'd definitely be I Will Survive. If it
I
was,
Will Survive. Yeah, nobody else. That's a good tune. Okay, so perfect. So this is another scenario for you now.
Okay.
Another picture for you. So I'll just give you a bit of background on this one. So a couple of years ago, my husband and I went off to America for a whole month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was lovely. We went to a wedding in Yellowstone Park, and we built a holiday around it. Well, in fact, we didn't. We had a travel consultant build a holiday around it for us.
Brilliant.
And she booked all the flights and all the hotels, so we knew exactly where we were going. We did 3,300 miles in this amazing, big, lovely car that we hired. And we were together for 24 hours a day, apart from one day where my husband went off into the desert with a Harley Davidson. And we didn't have a crossword the whole time that we were away. And we've been together for 35 years.
Oh, fantastic.
So my question to you is, who would you go away with if everything was taken care of like that? Who would you choose to go away with that you could spend a whole month with without a crossword?
I think it would be my husband, for sure. Yeah, definitely. And there's lots of different places we could go. It's always a good sign, isn't it? Yeah, we'd love it. And I think we would, if it was the two of us and the children were taken care of, even more, just having a day out recently on our own, as Jack still kind of needs us quite a lot. It's like, it was amazing. So yeah, no, it'd be great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's lovely. Not everybody has chosen their spouse, by the way, just to tell you. Okay. And just going back to the music question, we're creating a book of all of these transcriptions of all of the people that want to be involved in the book. And this book is doing the Jules Verne journey around the world in 80 days. Do you know that?
Okay.
Yeah. From October to December in this year, which is why everybody's interviews are now, because we're getting them all transcribed. And as well as that, I'm also creating a playlist, a song list. And every one of my guests gets to put a song onto my playlist.
Brilliant.
And it's the song that makes you feel. I know we've mentioned a few things now, but what song would you play to make you feel lighthearted?
To make me feel lighthearted. What I've already mentioned, I think, the search for the hero inside yourself by the M People. I just love it.
Yeah. I'd love to have that on my playlist. So
brilliant.
Absolutely fine. Yeah, I think it's a great tune. Okay. And so since, I've been running my business now is all around the heart and health. And it's really interesting what you say, because, the key to good health is actually looking after two systems. One is your heart and the other is your gut, actually. And one of my specialities is helping people to understand the relationship between the gut and the gut-brain connection and gut and every system of the body, actually. So if you fix the gut, you fix the problem, effectively.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so much of the metabolic diseases that we see nowadays are due to an imbalance in the flora that particularly sits in the bacteria and everything that particularly sits in the gut. It's called this forgotten organ is called the microbiome. It's really fascinating. And everybody's talking about the microbiome. And I'm in a very fortunate position to be able to help people to reset this microbiome, which for most people is out of kilter. And that microbiome out of kilter causes disease and illness. And the root of that is inflammation and all those other things. So whatever it is that is wrong with you, if we strip that right back, what we need to be able to do is to look after our gut. But the other thing we need to be able to do is look after our heart.
Yeah.
Because the heart is the kind of the major organ, if you like. And that's where my book is written. And I know we exchanged books, didn't we?
We did,
so
yes.
You've got my books somewhere.
Yes, I have, next to my bed.
Oh, good girl. So my question to you is, I'd like to know what you do these days, and I know that you've had a radical change, what you do these days to look after your physical body, so the heart, your physical heart and your body in terms of health, but also what you do to look after your heart from an emotional and physical or spiritual sense, the heart that you have to give to the world.
Absolutely. So from a physical aspect, I mentioned I had a radical change last year. I had a bit of a health scare, and after a routine mammogram was found out that I had what's called DCIS, ductile carcinoma in situ, some calcification. So the way I chose to deal with that was change radically and really take charge of my own health. So I cut out sugar overnight. So that was one of the big things I did for my body and my system. Very occasionally, like last night, it was a friend's 50th, so I went out and had a small pot of rhubarb crumble at the end of the meal. So I had a treat like that, and I think I've done that, maybe 10 times since last August. But so I won't deny myself if I really fancy something. But generally, I cut out sugar. I eat in quite an alkalized way. I have green juice and a smoothie every day. Drink plenty of water. Taking
this is green, by the way.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. All of those kind of things I'm doing constantly. And there are different, vitamins and things that I take. But also things like the meditation, which I already mentioned. That is something that I do, every day. Maybe not always at the weekend when we're out very early for the kids' activities. But yeah, meditation. I tune in with myself. I regularly am checking in terms of my emotions and saying, how am I feeling? Because for me, our emotional system is a real gift that we've got inside of us. It's our internal guidance system to let us know whether we're on track, off track. What's really going on for us in our thinking. And it's about paying attention to that. And I do that regular. Getting out in nature is one of the best things for me, for sure. I took up running a little bit last year, so I run just very gently. Yeah, I did the 0 to 5K plan. I'd never run in my life. In fact, I had asthma as a child, so had a belief I couldn't run. And then my daughter wanted to start doing more exercise. So I said, how about if we do this together? So basically over 10 weeks, I joined a group called Nottingham Women Runners, and they took you from running nothing at all to, by the end of the 10 weeks, you could run 5K. And so that's what I did. So so it was very good. Very good.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for sharing that. Now, before we go, what I'd like to do is to give you the opportunity to tell us what's sort of coming up for you, what you're excited about in the next month or so, or maybe up to the next six months, maybe up to Christmas. What's going on for you? What's happening?
Brilliant. So what's going on for me? The charity will be coming into full operation within the next few months, and I am writing my next book at the moment, which is called...
What's your charity called, Lisa?
The Peter Spencer Youth Foundation. So it's just in the process, not yet, but there will be in 2 months' time. So it's just going through all the formalities process at the minute, the paperwork and the trustees, etc. So in about 2 months, there will be. I've got the logo sorted, that kind of thing, all the background stuff. And I'm writing a book, and the book's called Be You, Are You Brave Enough? And again, that will be out in the next 2 to 3 months. And all the proceeds from the book will go straight to the charity. So I'm writing that at the moment, and one of the ways I've actually chosen to do it, I'm running a workshop for a group of women this month, and I'm actually going to record the workshop, and that is forming the outline of the book, as well as all the notes that I've already got for it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it's all about being your true self, and the brave, stands for, are you bold and brave enough? Are you ready to really be you and to go down the path you want to? Are you aligned? So your conscious, your unconscious, your heart, head and gut brains, are they all aligned? Are you values led? Passionate about values. Do we know what's really important to us? And are you expanding enough? Because we are, as human beings, we are meant to be continually expanding. Yes. I do believe
one of the 6 human news, isn't it?
Exactly. And we're already enough. We've already got everything in us to be who we are. It's just expanding into that full version of us that is the key. So, and I've got another couple of workshops coming up in September that I'm going to be talking about and promoting on the Be You, Are You Brave Enough? Also, because in corporates I do some work around emotional intelligence and leadership. and I've been asked to speak at more events on that in the last year. So I'm actually putting on for the first time a live workshop in September for that as well, an open workshop, which,
cool.
yeah. So all sorts of things.
How do we connect with you then? How do we find out about all of this?
LinkedIn is a good place to connect with me. I have to say I am quite reactive on social media right now because my business has always been word of mouth, and I work with one corporate and they recommend me to somebody else. So I tend to work in corporates. But to connect with me, LinkedIn
I'll put your LinkedIn link.
Fabulous. My email is lisa@ccs, that's Charlie Sierra -coaching.co.uk. Please feel free to email me. I do give away, I haven't got one next to me actually, a little card that says I am enough, which I encourage everybody to have as their mantras, their own loyalty
yeah, it's in
card.
my purse somewhere, I think.
Brilliant. Exactly where it's meant to be. And I always give them out and say, put this in your purse, put it in your wallet, and have it as your own personal loyalty card. And if anybody wants one of those, then I will pop it in the post for you if you connect with me on email or through LinkedIn.
Yes. I've really enjoyed our light-hearted conversation. I hope you have too, Lisa.
I have indeed, Jill. Thank you very much for inviting me to talk to you.
You're very welcome. And we'll share this around the world, let everybody know a little bit more about you. And I wish you all the luck, particularly with your charity.
Thank you very much.
If there's anything that I can do, or anybody else that's listening, and you'd like some help, then just please keep in touch and make sure that you're telling all the world about it. It's one of the reasons that I do this show, is to be able to showcase not only you but also some of the things that you do too.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jill. Really appreciate that.
Okay, so I'll see you soon.
See you soon. Take care. Bye now.
Bye.
Lots of love. Bye.